In this practice, we're going to be exploring a couple of concepts, starting with the base of a pose, pyramid base, which gives us a kind of stability, like a tripod has some stability. We'll be looking at that base to understand when we are more stable, we're going to be able to cultivate what's called the reach reflex, where we can reach towards that which we long for in our lives. When we're less stable, and in this case, I mean being stabilized by your body dashboard, and there are 7 components of the body dashboard. You'll learn them in the video. So when we're less stable, we end up reaching for things. We're reaching for, almost like we're foraging. We're foraging for stimulus, we're foraging for connection, we're reaching for food or scrolling or all the things that actually pull us away from our stable base. It feels like they're going to meet our needs, but they end up being short-term and not that satisfying, while also creating detrimental neurological patterns for us to more easily repeat that stuff. So if we want to be able to repeat this reaching towards reflex, which is the reflex of reaching towards your goals, reaching towards your health, reaching towards your optimism or your courage, reaching towards how you want your life to go, how you want to experience being alive. If we're going to cultivate that, we do need to stabilize the base and do less reaching for, less foraging. So we'll see how it goes through the practice. Of course, as always, leave me questions and comments down below the video. I'm always happy to hear from you. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. And remember to click like for any videos that work well for you, because that does give us good feedback about what's happening for you in these practices. Thank you. I'll see you in the practice now. Okay, welcome for the practice. We'll be starting on the floor in this kind of seated foundational place, which gives us what we call a tripod in yoga. So you have your hips and the knees making that tripod shape. Even though we don't all have the knees comfortably come down to the floor, it's totally fine to put blocks under the knees or extra support. The idea is to make the tripod base, right? And then place your hands out over your knees. You're welcome to close your eyes. And I'd like you to picture yourself now from that tripod base. Picture yourself like a pyramid, a stable, 3-sided pyramid. And begin to breathe into the sense of the pyramid, the base being the most important. It's relatively famous now, the illustration of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We also have illustrations of various kinds of food pyramids. We also have illustrations of various kinds of triangle shapes showing wellness pyramids. And so I'm going to ask you to sense this. The base of your pyramid is the most important. And as you breathe into this space, just reflect for yourself on how well you've been caring for what we call the basics in the body dashboard. So that includes your hydration, enough movement to raise your heart rate, to kind of cleanse the pipes in the body. Your sleep routine or your resting routine is important. How have you been caring for the need for balanced blood sugar? What have you been doing to support yourself to have time in nature, to be connected to nature? And have you given yourself space for what we call right brain activities, something more like creativity or improvisation, or having some white space on your calendar where you aren't so left-brained getting things done, but you can feel into. And then how about the experience of elimination, which means the obvious, so body elimination, but also laughing, crying, expressing. So if those things are at the base of your pyramid, your body dashboard, how well has it been getting cared for? And I invite you to ask yourself this question without any judgment. I trust that you have been doing your best, and I want to encourage you to trust that as well. Now, holding on to the knees firmly, let's do this as you inhale. Raise up through your spine, open your chest and your heart and your throat. And then as you exhale, curl down, starting from your chin, curl down through your spine, lengthen the tailbone forward. And then again, inhale, roll up, and notice that the rolling begins at the base of your pelvis with the sitting bones. And then exhale and curl down, and this begins with your tailbone moving towards your pubic bone, your chin moving towards your throat. Inhale, begin at the sitting bones, roll them back as you raise up one vertebrae at a time. And exhale to curl down. And then bring yourself to neutral. So we're going to imagine not just that we're a pyramid, but kind of like working as if you were also a sundial. Let's say that this is like facing to the east. We're going to go slightly to my right, which will be to your right as well, I think. And as you come across, reach your left hand out over your right knee. And then the same action we just had. So inhale, raise up through your spine. Might feel a little bit more limited. Exhale, curl down and roll your spine like you're doing cat pose. Inhale, reach forward and up, aiming upwards. Exhale, curl the tailbone down, bring your chin down, roll inwards. Again, inhale. Try to get to know this side of your pyramid as you face in this direction for the sundial. One more time, inhale to roll up. And then exhale and find your way to neutral. And let's just take notice how even a few moments of that kind of movement, it has a beneficial effect. And then keeping your left hand out over your left knee and the sundial, we're going to turn to the left in my case. Hopefully it's also your left. Place your right hand over your left hand and inhale to roll up. And exhale to curl down. Inhale as you roll up, think of your sitting bones as going back and the heart goes up while facing towards your left knee. Exhale, curl down. Squeeze the lumbar spine with the front belly. Inhale, roll up and open your chest and heart spine with the top of the inhale. And then exhale one more time, squeeze into the lower belly to broaden your lumbar spine. And last time, inhale to come up. And then exhale, return to the base of your pyramid and rest your hands on your knees. Picturing that to the left and to the right, you have some, we could say, for you, north and south if we're facing to the east. So let's take the right hand to the north, place it down. Inhale, raise your left arm up past your left ear and side bend to your right. Let's keep the right arm straight for right now so that the side bend is going to be moving into the mid torso and the upper torso. Keep your left hip grounded. And as you're reaching like this, imagine that you're getting to know this direction in your life, this particular reaching. We have a reflex in our nervous system called the reach reflex. We reach towards something. And you could ask yourself, what are you reaching towards? Now, keeping your left hip grounded, with your next exhale, rise up to your center. And then inhale, open your left arm and let it drift back down. Place both hands on your knees. So if the base of the pyramid, in other words, in this case for today, the body dashboard, if that's stable and nourished, you have a sense of the rooting that that provides to your life and your body, then the reaching reflex is going to be reaching towards something, reaching towards it for motivation or encouragement or inspiration. At other times when our base is unstable, we might be reaching for help. We might be reaching for getting saved, for example, like from the insanity of our own minds. So what we're reaching towards is different than what we reach for, like reaching for food, reaching for stimulus, reaching for distraction. And that will tend to happen more often if our base is not stable. So place the left hand down and keeping the left arm straight, it's going to make the side bend come into the torso here. Raise your right arm up. Reach your right arm past your right ear as you root down into your right hip. And keeping your base stable, you can reflect on what are you reaching towards? And in that reach, what do you want to provide to yourself? Reaching towards. Grant yourself permission for reaching towards. It's a natural reflex and it's in your birthright. We'll do one more in-breath here. And then as you exhale, rise back up to sitting and inhale, float your right arm out to the side, let it come back down. Connect again to your stable base. Okay, now we did this north to west. Let's imagine if this is east and this is north and south, excuse me, this is east. We're going to go like a little bit northeast right now. So instead of your hand going straight down to the side, place it just past your right knee, if that's comfortable. Keep your left hip grounded and rotate your torso to your left. Sweep your left arm up and past your left ear. This time we're reaching on this diagonal, so out over the right thigh. And as you inhale again, side bend your torso so the left side is deliberately more expansive up through the mid-torso and your chest. And on the exhale, keep your left hip grounded. You can ask yourself on the inhalation, what are you reaching towards? And encourage yourself to stay grounded during the exhale. And then with your next exhale, rise back up to your center, rest your hand in your lap, and take notice again. Bit by bit, moment to moment, there are changes that happen in the body. Take the left hand past your left knee, rotate your torso to your right, and sweep your right arm past your right ear. And keeping your right hip grounded, ask yourself again, how do I stay stable? What is grounding? What is rooting? Your body dashboard is a part of that process. That's going to allow you to reach towards. And in that reaching towards, consider how you're going to support yourself right here, right now in the breath to have that sense of permission for the reach. And then with your next exhale, root down into your right hip, rise back up to center and check and see how the base of your pyramid feels when you get back home. So the reaching towards reflex is really dependent upon how stable we are at our base. And it's also very helpful to know how we get back home, how we keep coming back home to this space. I'll talk more about that in a few minutes, but let's take this now. We went north and then we went a little bit northeast. We're going to go one more time northeast. And so when you place your hand, try to keep the left hip grounded. So place your right palm. You're coming in and then rotate your torso to your left. There you go. And sweep your left arm past your left ear. So what's difficult to maintain this time is the twist of the torso to the left. So press firmly into your right arm. And that'll support you twisting your chest to the left and also rooting your left hip down. And you can ask yourself again, what are you reaching towards? Keeping your right arm strong, press from your shoulder into your right hand as you inhale. And then exhale, rise up to sitting, release your left hand and come down, hands to your knees. Acknowledge those little changes that are happening for you. And then left hand went south and then it went kind of southeast. Now we're going to come in a little bit further. Okay, and so reaching a few degrees forward and left, rotate your torso to your right. Make that twist from your upper back and your thoracic spine. Inhale, raise your right arm past your right ear. So really helpful to keep your right hip grounded, your right leg grounded. And as you press into your left arm, rotate your chest to your right, while keeping this side bend to the left. And breathe in a way that's nurturing and kind, so you can really support the stability of your base and the birthright of reaching towards. And then as you next exhale, raise up to center and float your right arm down, return to your stable base. So in the course of our lives, if we think about the earliest years of our development, we had this reach reflex. And when I do it here sitting, it's like, yeah, you had to reach up for people sometimes. You had to reach for support, lying on your back, you reached up when somebody reached towards you. So that reach reflex is something that's in you. And it was there for survival and connection, right? And as we go through our life, the reaching towards reflex becomes also what we want to reach for in terms of our motivation or our personal direction in life. And if our base is unstable, it can be very hard to do that reaching towards that which we want to move towards in our lives. And then we can end up with that reaching for instead, reaching for almost like foraging for stimulus or foraging for getting more grounded, or trying to find a more stable base by, let's say, making ourselves feel sedentary or numb or lethargic, or trying to find a stable base by helping ourselves feel perfect or in control or like we've got it all together. And neither one of those is actually a source of stability. One is more like numbness and lethargy, and the other is kind of a breakable place, because the narrowing of what is perfect or within control, it seems to get more and more narrowed, and then that becomes very fragile. Actually, we might feel like we're going to be strong in there, but it becomes fragile. And then instead of reaching towards, we're kind of pulling back away from, I can't do this, I can't do that, and so on. And that becomes like an internal regime that becomes more powerful than we thought it was going to be. Like it has more power over you than you do over it. So this is a way to sense that empowerment coming back in. So let's take it into a standing place now. It's helpful to know how to do it from a sitting position, because we are often sitting. So you could actually do this if you were sitting at your desk and you just feel like, oh, I need to remember what I'm reaching towards, not just like driving these emails, right? Or like pushing these pieces of paper around, we used to say, but pushing these different documents around. So what I'd like you to do now is come up to standing, put the blankets aside and come up to stand in the wide leg forward bend, which sometimes we also call pyramid pose, because the stance between your 2 feet and your hips is like a pyramid. So come into Prasarita Padottanasana and go ahead and place your fingertips on the floor or on some blocks based on what your needs are. Press down into your feet, energize your legs, and relax your torso. Release the weight of your head. And as you press down into your footprints and energize your legs, start to deepen your breathing. So your inhale gets more smooth, your exhale gets more smooth. And think of the breath as the one thing to listen to right now. So your mental chatter, often like a radio playing too many different stations, the mental chatter goes out to the side margins and you can hear yourself breathing, breathing in and breathing out. And do that one more time, breathing in. And breathing out. And then raise your hands up to your hips. And as you inhale, come up to standing. And upon rising to standing, let's notice that the feet are right now parallel. Turn the left heel slightly out and turn your right foot directly. Okay. So now we know we're going to be going to the north, right? That's over here. And so in this position, inhale, sweep your arms wide, make your hips stable, feet and legs stable. And then as you exhale, rotate your pelvis to bring your torso down to your right. And go ahead and touch your right shin with your right hand or touch your right thigh or a chair or a block. But focus then on rotating your chest and heart to your left. Reach the left arm straight up. See if you might be able to turn your head, so looking up towards your left thumb if you can see it. And I'll ask you to keep gazing up towards the ceiling. Let's gaze past the left thumb. And now inhale, reach your left arm past your left ear. Root firmly down into your right heel. Keep the outer right hip strong so your front leg is very stable. And from your left hip, root down into your left heel. And with your next exhale, rise up to standing, float the arms out to the side, and then relax both arms. And let's turn the right toes in and turn the left foot directly out. Okay. So as you take the right heel slightly back from your left heel, it kind of notifies your thigh and your pelvis that you're going to be going now to the south, what I'll call the south. Okay. Inhale, both arms wide. And then exhale, rotate your pelvis, but keep both hips strong and stable. Bring your left fingertips down to rest on your left shin. Take the right arm straight up as you can. And turn your head to your right. Perhaps you'll see your right thumb. And while gazing up to the right, so reach past your thumb with your gaze. Take your right arm overhead, reaching beyond your right ear. Keep both legs strong and stable so both heels and both hips are strong. And ask yourself, what are you reaching towards? And then with an exhale, root into your right hip, rise back up, arms out to the side. Let's make the feet parallel and come back down to your stable base. And notice what that's like to return to the stable base. Relax the weight of your head. And then exhale completely. Shift your hands to your hips, rise up to standing. Okay, now as you come up, turn your heels in and your toes out. Yep, and come down. This is called the jazz dance warm-up pose. So here we're facing, let's say, east to start. We're going to be rotating the torso. So press from your inner thighs out through both knees. Keep your heels grounded. And then twist your torso to your right. So I like to turn my left hand in so the fingers point down, and then you're going to press with your left arm against your left thigh. Let's keep both elbows straight. That's going to give you an honest sense of how you can rotate your spine. As you gaze past your right shoulder, see if you can keep your balance with your eyes closed. That means that your base is stable enough that you can keep your balance. Your mind and your brain are stable enough. And then exhale, come back to center, keeping the stamina in the legs. Switch your hands and rotate your spine to your left. Again, use straight arms so that you're staying centered with your pelvis and your spine and really rotating lumbar spine, mid back spine, upper back spine. We have different kinds of motivation in our lives, and one of those is called the toward motivation, reaching towards something. The other motivation is called the away motivation, reaching away from something. Let's rotate back to center. So my recommendation for us right now is to know what we're gonna reach towards versus focusing on what we're reaching away from. So root down through your tailbone and keep the legs stable, and see if you can raise your torso up. Float the arms forward. Now, if you've got a good strong base here with your pelvis and your legs, can you take the arms out to the side? And then side bend to your right. Inhale up to center. And side bend to your left. Appreciate the strength required in your legs. Inhale up to center. Once more, exhale, side bend to your right. Inhale, raise up. And exhale, side bend to your left. Wonderful, good job. Inhale, back to center. And now exhale, rise up to your center. Make the feet parallel, and one more time, come down to the stable base that we started with. And this is the standing version of pyramid pose. Take a deep breath in. And exhale completely. And then rise up to your fingertips. And if you look down between where your two hands are now, there's a space between them. Place your left hand on the floor there, or on a block or on a chair. Root down into both hips and inhale, twist to your right. With your exhale, root into the strength of your left arm. With your inhale, explore the reaching that you long to do. What are you reaching towards? And knowing that at times it's going to be difficult, there will be challenges that you'll face. Give yourself the support right now to reach towards to the best of your ability. And then exhale, release your right hand to the floor and change it up for your left hand. Twist to your left. Root down through your right arm. And keeping this stable, press into both feet so both heels are still grounded. And explore during the inhale, what are you reaching towards? And then follow your exhale to release back down towards the floor to the stable base. So there's that reach, and then there's this return. Walk your hands up to your hips, rise up to standing. Let's go heel, toe, until you're in mountain pose. Okay. And as you come to mountain pose, relax both arms. Notice the stamina that you were just working with there. And reflect back on how you were able to proceed moment to moment. Okay, now one way to renew the base is to know where your center of gravity is. So we're going to lie on the back, please. Come down onto your backside so that your knees are bent and your feet are flat on the floor. If you need to, of course, it's always all right to put a blanket under your head. We will generally need a blanket if when you lie down, you feel like your chin has to push up towards the ceiling, which, by the way, would be a sign that your upper back spine is a little bit stiff. So take note of that. So here, as you lie back, blanket or no blanket, it's up to you based on your neck and your upper back. Check that you can reach your arms overhead without interruption. And you can also bring them down, of course, without interruption. Great. So press down into your heels. Let's do the feet so they're hip distance apart. And as you inhale, root into your heels, raise your hips and your sitting bones, your tailbone, sweep the arms overhead. And then exhale and roll your spine down while also rolling the arms down at the same pace. So even though the arms have a lot of greater distance to travel, we're going to synchronize the movement. So we start and end all the body parts like an orchestra. They do it together. Okay, so breathing in, let's go up. Breathing out, we're going to go down. At your own pace. Three times more. Twice more. Last one. Rest at the bottom of that. Turn your palms face up. And let your mind connect to all the places where you are supported by the ground beneath you. So returning again to a kind of stability. Okay, so from this place of stability, let's bring the legs together so they're like one unit, kind of like a mermaid doing yoga. And I'd like you to take your left arm overhead, just the left arm, and then roll both knees together down to your right. And you're going to keep the outside of the right heel on the floor. So this rotation, you want to sense that you're really lengthening through the left side waist again. So going back to that sense we were side bending earlier, can you now feel the lower part of that side bend? Lower, left lower back, left lower belly, left outer hip. And then exhale, roll your legs back to center. Let's take the right arm overhead. And keeping the legs together like a unit, like a mermaid, come down to your left with the legs and see if you can elongate the right side of the waist, right lower back, lower belly, outer hip. And then exhale, roll back to center. Now, something that happens here, we're going to go side to side and you'll find that you're traveling a little bit on your mat. And this is a cross hemisphere practice. So it brings the two hemispheres of the brain into some synchronization, and it's going to take us to Shavasana. So what you're going to do here is on the inhale, reach your left arm and the knees. And then exhale to center. Inhale, right arm and knees left. Exhale to center. Inhale, left arm, knees right. Exhale to center. Inhale, right arm, knees go left. And exhale to center. You've traveled maybe just a couple of inches, right? So let's take the legs out now and come to Shavasana. And there's even more places of support for you on the ground. So give yourself a moment to observe the support from the ground beneath you, the support that you have created by dedicating to a yoga practice. And going inside with full permission that you have a reaching reflex and you have permission to reach towards that which you long to reach in your life. As we go inside, let's imagine that we can subtract or lessen, reduce the habit of reaching for things that we know are not that helpful to us. And instead of overusing that reaching for reflex, can we use and support the reaching towards reflex? And picture yourself being able to do this in your daily life. And you might remind yourself that if you use a lot of reaching for, you will both take up the energy that could have been used for reaching towards, and you'll kind of dull the ability to reach towards by overusing the reaching for. So picture that habit lessening right now, and the reaching towards reflex increasing right now. Welcome yourself to deeply relax. You're simply visualizing or imagining, but from a very restful place. Yourself to be more and more deeply relaxed. Your body, your mind, your heart. And just picture that your neurological system is working it out. lessening the habit of reaching for things, which are usually substitutes and can't be that satisfying. Imagine the capacity for reaching towards from a stable foundation. Do you notice your body getting heavier with relaxation? Allow that to go a little deeper for one more minute. Let's begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes. And go ahead and bend your knees. Reach both arms straight up towards the ceiling. There's that reaching reflex. Reach your arms overhead. And then roll to your side and press yourself back up to sitting. Now to come up, I do recommend that you sit on something that gives you some stability. I'm going to take one portion of this little blanket and then find your seat. Rest your hands in your lap, and let's come back to picturing the pyramid where we started. Knowing where this stable base is, breathe into the foundation of your pyramid and just check again, is there anything on your body dashboard that you could give a little more attention for today? I can assure you that it will be meaningful if you're more hydrated or healthfully hydrated, if you have some cardiovascular time where you raise your heart rate, if you get into nature, if you allow yourself some right brain creativity or improvisation time, if you tend to your need for deep rest or good sleep hygiene, you keep your blood sugar balanced, allow yourself to have the healthy pathways of elimination, which is both physical and also the emotions of laughing and crying. Ideally, these are all integrated into the natural flow of your day. So just choose one thing you might increase for today, a dedication for today. And raise your hands to your heart and know that as you make that commitment to yourself, that dedication, it's going to be really meaningful to the parts of you that want to reach towards in your life, not just reaching for, not just like, foraging for stimulus or for soothing or sedating. So thank you very much for being here. Namaste. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing your practice. Before you go, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button to get connected to the channel. And if the practice is helpful to you, please click the like button because that gives us good feedback. As always, you can leave questions and comments down below. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.